Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of everythingaction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast podcast for the week of July 24th, 2023. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your co-host, Chris.
And we got a bunch of stuff this week, so let's jump right in. And we will kick things off with some trailers. And we actually this week got the first trailer for The Exorcist Believer, which is the new sequel to The Exorcist from David Gordon Green. So he's tackling a new horror franchise. He brought us three very mixed results Halloween movies, and now he's going to bring us, I believe, also a new trilogy of Exorcist movies. So Blumhouse is like all in on David Gordon Green remaking or like adding to like horror franchises.
I'm not exactly sure he's the steroid that franchise needs at this point, because Halloween
first
Kills
one was
Halloween Ends.
And Kills and Ends were both, I thought, like Kills was ridiculous, but then Ends was terrible. Like Kills was kind of funny in its badness. Ends was just bad.
Ends was just bad. A lot of awkward choices.
Focusing on that the new character that like they should have introduced in the first movie. In the first movie of the new trilogy, and built to it instead of just having show up and be like, I'm the new Michael Myers.
I'm a character that you just do not care about. I understand if they want to do like a legacy thing, and it's not like a TV show season where they change writers or the show went to a different direction, you know, and want to try something new. This felt like a trilogy that felt planned from beginning to end, and along the way someone got drunk, you know, and just sort of made shit up that didn't make any goddamn sense.
Well, it felt like they said we're gonna make a trilogy, but then they ran out of ideas for the trilogy. They only had ideas for like one movie, and they're like, well, we got to come up with two more movies. I don't know.
I mean, you know,
because Kills is just like Kills felt like so much stalling.
Yeah,
I mean, like the entire movie was just stalling to get to the third one, and the third one was like, well, they'll pay off in the third one, and they didn't pay off in the third one. So
yeah. I don't mind Kills in comparison, like you said, but unlike what they're doing now, that movie had a very muddle. I mean, almost all horror movies eventually have a muddle-ass timeline and characters where it just doesn't have to make sense. It just, as long as they're there. So I understand picking up the pieces and trying something different, but I know there is books about how to write a screenplay out there in the wild, and there are amateur sort of mythos that's like, hey, this makes sense if you're gonna do this, and there's like script doctors, you know, like there is ways to fix things.
Well, it's also baffling too because David Gordon Green, when he works with Dan McBride and Jody Hill on like Righteous Gemstones, brilliant. Like
that's the insane thing. That's the crazy part, is that within a comedy element with the right script material, it seems coherent and the story escalates naturally. So I'm not saying he's a bad director or writer or creative person. It just doesn't make sense that no one stepped in and went, hey, don't do that. Let's do this instead. So maybe he's learned that, because exorcisms go off the rail too.
We'll see in October with Exorcist Believer, which is it's going to pick up same sort of idea as the Halloween trilogy that we just got. It's a direct sequel to the original one, and erasing all the other movies from continuity. Sorry, Exorcist 3, which is actually pretty great.
Is that the one with James Earl Jones in it?
No, 3 is the one that has what's his name from like Patton. George C. Scott is like the detective, and there's a new like demon, like a demon that's also like killing people, and it's like it starts as like a serial killer movie, or it's more like a serial killer movie where it's like he's trying to figure out what is causing all these like mysterious deaths, and then it turns out it's, you know, Pazuzu's back and it's all this other stuff going on. But yeah, it's actually a pretty great like of the Exorcist sequels, that's probably the best one. But then you get into the weeds of like Prelude. Was it Prelude or like Dominion, the Prelude to Exorcist, or the prequel to Exorcist, and then like there's like two of those. And Legion
I
or
something.
something.
The one with
like
the Skarsgård was one of them. You know what I'm talking about? It's another prequel one. It stars the same father in his younger years.
Well, there was two prequels that came out within like a year of each other. Exorcist the Beginning and then Dominion prequel to The Exorcist.
I think I'm talking about Exorcist Beginnings. It's the one where it's in Africa again. I think Exorcism 2 is the one in Africa where James Earl Jones is a witch doctor.
Yes, and that's the second one. Yeah, that's the direct sequel. That's like where Linda Blair comes back, and she's like a teenager now, and then they're trying to like, you're cured. Oh, I guess not. Like
there is one where it's discovering the demon and how it's been affecting humanity somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's the second one because that's when they find out Pazuzu's name, and they find out, oh, Pazuzu is the demon that possessed you all those years ago. And then, I think James Earl Jones. I think James Earl Jones is either he's trying to fight. He's fighting Pazuzu, or he's like the one that is like summoned Pazuzu or something. I think he's trying to help. I think he's trying to help, like, because his like tribe in Africa dealt with it Pazuzu before or something. But yeah, this new movie, it's so a direct sequel to the original. There are two girls who get lost in the woods. They come back and they're possessed. So it's a double possession. And then one of the girls' father is looking for help, and he goes to Ellen Burstyn, who's back from the original as Chris McNeil, as sort of like the Laurie Strode, I guess, character coming from the original movie. And then trying to classic, trying to get the exorcise demons, get them out, fight the demons, all that classic exorcist stuff.
You think there's gonna be more than one demon, or just one demon?
It seems like they're setting up. It's like one demon, but it's I think both girls, because there's that scene in the trailer toward the end where it's like, oh, their heartbeats are synced up. And I don't know if it's gonna be Pazuzu again. They haven't mentioned. They didn't mention Pazuzu by name, but I think they're kind of like hinting it might be, or it might be a new demon. But it's got tubular bells, like the look of the girls when they get possessed is very Exorcist. So hopefully it's lives up to The Exorcist and is better than the Halloween sequels. And then there's gonna be a new one. There's gonna be a sequel, I think, in like a year or two. Exorcist Deceiver is gonna be in 2025. And I don't think because a lot of these Universal movies, they have like a Peacock and theatrical release on the same day. I think this is one that's just gonna be theaters, and then it'll be Peacock a little bit later on. Okay. I hear that title too. And I can only think of like the Imagine Dragons song. Like I keep expecting like that.
Yeah.
I keep expecting like the either like a slowed down version of that in this trailer, or like it to come on like We're on Your Express, like that trailer. Like it cuts like the Exorcist title, and it's like, bam, you made me, you made.
Did that happen in Murder the Oriental Express, an acapella version of Believer?
No, it was just the actual song, but that was like the big like meme thing. The whole trailer just like built up to that. Like it cut to like the title, and it was just like the Imagine Dragons song. So then the whole meme was like people like making like trailers that like cut like the ended with like that like needle drop.
I kind of remember that.
But it was so like incongruous to like a whatever 19th century, 20th century, like early 20th century Perot mystery.
Yeah, I think Perot would have listened to that music.
To Imagine Dragons, yeah. Yeah, Exorcist Believer, October 13th, Friday 13th, this year. So you can check that out. And we also got a new trailer for the Boys spinoff, Gen V, which is coming out in September on Prime Video, September 29th. And this is set at Godalkin University, which is a VOT International run school for soups. And young people with superpowers go there, train, and if they make enough, like a big enough impression, they'll end up. They could possibly be like a VOT superhero, or I mean, maybe even like if they're a huge deal, that they could be a potential member of the Seven at some point, maybe. But the main character is Marie Moreau, she has blood bending powers, so she can cut her, like she can like use either her blood or other people's blood and manipulate it to like as a weapon. A very brutal, like disgusting power that feels like totally in line with the Boys universe.
I feel like they stole that from Avatar.
Yeah, wasn't that a thing? Was that in Avatar or was that in like Korra? I know I've heard that. It was like a forbidden bending power. Like no one should be able to do that, or like no one should,
blood
is, like,
bending
supposed to do that.
It is a offshoot of metal bending.
Yeah,
or earth bending,
because like the
iron in it. Yeah, and the idea is that everyone has blood, so you can pretty much fuck up everything that is that has blood in it.
Yeah, it seems very powerful. Like you could just rip someone's blood out of them and kill them.
Right. I don't know. In her powers, it's only her blood. I think it's only her blood.
It seemed like she could like also like maybe manipulate other people's blood. I'm not sure. It's not clear because it looks like she has to cut herself to like she has to get the blood going. So I don't know if she can like rip it like if it's not like already like bleeding around the surface. If she can manipulate it, like I don't know if she can like rip it out of someone's skin. Like if there's no cut or like no wound, if you can't manipulate it.
Yeah, if you can't drain it out of the person.
She cuts herself and then is able to like manipulate her blood after it starts coming out.
Yeah, from the trailer you see she makes basically tentacles out of her blood.
Yeah.
Almost like Carnage. They basically made a Carnage character, but something different. And this is a big change from the comics because the like comic era is like way different.
Mm-hmm.
The college that they have, and Huey enrolls in it. It's the idea that Huey's trying to investigate this corrupt practice and stuff, and it's a side story. It doesn't really play into the greater. Like it has really low bearings to the main plot of the Boys comic, and this seems like it's going to be a mix of it. Because if they just do one season to tell the story, that's fine. But because I think the next season, The Boys, season 4 is that's it. They're trying to wrap up the whole story with it. Mm-hmm. Who knows if there's still potential spinoffs or a continuation.
Well, none of the actual boys are going to be on Gen V. There's going to be some characters from the main show. So like just Jesse T. Usher, Colby Minifie, PJ Byrne, Jensen Ackles are all going to show up at some point on the show. But probably no Homelander, no no Butcher, no Huey. Unless maybe it's like a surprise, and then they're like the pop up like last episode, so they'll be like, "We're shutting the school down." Like
probably. That's kind of what happens in the comic.
It seems like Clancy Brown maybe is like the principal or something, or like runs the school.
So in the concept, another thing is this reminds me of New Mutant a bit. They basically made a better version of New Mutant.
Oh, like the movie New Mutants?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's almost the same plot. Where all these people in the school, there's something not really right about the school.
Well, here there's more than 6 kids at the school. Like that was
true.
You mean it's like that was it. It was those 6 kids. That was it. So yeah, definitely way more kids. There's like a whole competition aspect to it of like you get points for certain classes or certain like tasks, and there's like and then like freshmen are competing with like the upper class, and the upper class are like we're the cool kids, like we're gonna become like superheroes, and you're not like. And there's a whole like new group that's coming in are gonna be the main characters. But yeah, it looks very much in line with what we've come to know from the Boys show. So definitely, it seems like you're a fan of the Boys. Definitely check that out on September 29th. And then last trailer for the week is we got the first trailer for Castlevania Nocturne, which is the follow-up to Castlevania, the Netflix anime series, which is jumping ahead to 1792 and the French Revolution, and it's going to follow Richter Belmont, who is the hero of Castlevania Rondo of Blood and appeared in other games in the series after that. And it's going to be a prequel origin story that has never really been seen before in the Castlevania lore, because he just kind of showed up in Rondo of Blood, and there wasn't really like, or I mean, I'm sure there's probably like backstory lore at somewhere, but this is going to be like kind of his origin story leading up to Rondo of Blood, I think. And also him teaming up with like Maria Renard and fighting vampires in French Revolution France.
Did you ever play Rondo of Blood?
I played Dracula X, which is like the inferior Super Nintendo version of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not too bad. It's a Super NES game, and it still holds up.
Yeah. If you didn't know any better,
I know
it's perfectly fine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they had to cut it down. Like, yeah, for Super Dracula X, they had to cut out. I think a lot of like the music had to get cut down, animation to get cut down, like content to get cut down, because like obviously you had to cram like CD quality graphics and music onto a cartridge.
But the TV show looks good. It's more of the same.
Yeah, same animation style. Like Powerhouse Animation is doing the animation again, so same style. They haven't really said the cast yet, although IMDb mentions a lot of like the like OG Castlevania cast, like Richard Armitage and James Callis and Graham McTavish. So it seems like maybe there's gonna be flashbacks to like Trevor and Sypha and Alucard and Dracula possibly,
or Dracula. I'm sure still be around. Because yeah.
Also, if this leads into, if this is gonna have multiple seasons, and if they go into Rondo of Blood and then maybe eventually Symphony of the Night, obviously Alucard is going to be a huge factor in Symphony of the Night. So
I feel like it'd be cool to see an actual Symphony of the Night episode where it's really Alucard just doing season. Yeah, but I feel like we got previews of it already from the first season of the show, so I don't mind. I also don't mind if they keep on going with it and get to like, was it Dawn or Eclipse? The one where now it's like futuristic and they're in Japan and it's now the resurrection of Dracula and a Japanese guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was a Game Boy Advance game. I don't know. It was really shocking that they ended the original series after 3 seasons, and then they got to the new season, which, okay, that's better.
I think there was 4 seasons of Castlevania, the original.
Was it 4?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Although, I mean, the first 2 seasons were like what, 2 episodes each, or something, 3 episodes each, or something.
It was short.
like, yeah, it was like 4 episodes. And then they finally started extending them in like later seasons. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I think we were both huge fans of Castlevania. So if this is like same quality as that, this is probably gonna be a pretty awesome show. And definitely one of the best like video game adaptations up there with like Last of Us and stuff like that. I feel like the Castlevania anime kind of was like the first big one of like, oh, this now like video game adaptations are good now.
Yep. I feel that way too, where they respected the source, and besides a few creative choices, it still was a coherent story, and the level of, I guess, like homage of the original series and Easter eggs and references to some obscure things and tying it all together, and then making it entertaining for someone who doesn't know all of that.
Yeah,
was pretty good. Like, characters show up that if you play their games, you know who they were, but if you didn't, it didn't really break the game, the story, you know, like as if it was the game where it's like random character now, like who is this? They were good at that, and I feel that that's in good trusted hands. I'm not saying that everyone could do that. Not every show can easily do that without being some crazy like info dump and just only cater to your fans, or don't even use the respected material. I'm trying to think of like, it's been a while since we had that. I think now when you make a video game based thing, they have to do it right, or else they're instantly gonna bomb.
My one hope for Nocturne is that they get to actual Castlevania music sooner, because that's what everyone was waiting for like the first 1.5 seasons, was like, where's the music, where's the Castlevania music, because that's such a huge part of the series. And when they finally did have that huge fight scene with actual Castlevania music going on, it was like, yes, finally it's Castlevania. Like, there's meat in the wall. But yeah, September 28th is when Castlevania Nocturne is dropping on Netflix, so definitely check that out when it comes out. And then moving on to some other news, Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is coming out next week on Wednesday, August 2nd, and it already has a sequel movie in development and a spin-off TV series, Paramount Plus series in development. So yeah, so before we even know like how the movie's gonna do, Paramount is greenlit a sequel with the same director, Jeff Rowe, and then it's obviously same art style, and it's gonna continue whatever happens to Mutant Mayhem is gonna pick up in the sequel. And then there's gonna be a Paramount Plus show called Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that is going to feature episodes where each turtle kind of goes off on their own separate adventure and either teams up with like different characters or does their own solo thing. It kind of sounds like what, like the original comics, but like way back in the day when the original comics did like the one shots where it was like Ninja Turtles, Raphael, Ninja Turtles, Leonardo. It was like an issue where it was just the one turtle and they had their own adventure. So it sounds like this spin-off show is going to be like similar to that, where it's like it's a Michelangelo episode. He's doing his own thing. It's a Donatello episode. He's doing his own thing. And the show's going to be 2D animation, so it's not going to be the 3D animation like Mitchell's vs. Machines style animation of the movie. It's going to be like traditional 2D animation.
Did they release any concept art yet?
No. Yeah, we have no idea what it looks like. They just announced that they're making that and the sequel today. So but 2 seasons already greenlit, so there's gonna be a lot of Tales of the Ninja Turtles coming up. And the Turtles voice cast, like all the kids who are voicing the Turtles in the movie are going to be back to voice them in the show.
That's cool.
So yeah, hopefully Mutants Mayhem is great, and then we'll have lots more of that universe to dig into. I'm sure we'll both try to see it as soon as we can next week or the week after. I think reviews are already out. I think it's like 95% on Rotten Tomatoes right now or something. So it's getting very good reviews.
I don't know. Maybe I'll go see Haunted Mansion instead. I heard that's a movie.
Yeah. haven't seen Barbie or Oppenheimer yet, but we're gonna go see Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, while everyone's up there seeing Barbie Hammer, we are just in line to Haunted Mansion with original merch from the Eddie Murphy version.
In the theater by yourself. I mean, we don't know. Like, if you're hearing this, it's out, but we have no idea like how it's gonna do. I have a feeling it's not gonna do that well, especially up against the continued dominance of Barbieheimer. Like, it's just gonna. I think it's gonna be like another Disney flop.
I've got hope that if they keep playing it and with the writer and actor strike, and if it's the only thing in theaters for a while, it can sort of make back some money. Kind of like how Elemental is now a success movie.
Sort of. It did way better than its opening weekend would have suggested, because it's hung around for a while, for the entire summer, but the cost still is it hasn't made enough to break even or warrant the cost. At least in the theatrical window, it's not gonna break even or make its money back.
Really, I somehow read an article or something, maybe it wasn't accurate, that saying that eventually it did make some money back, but maybe not enough to make it financially stable.
Well, it costs $200 million, and then you factor in probably another $100 million or more for advertising and all the promotion. So that's $300 million or so. It's made $358 million worldwide. So I mean, that's not really that much profit. That might be profit. It might be break even. Break even is probably at least double. So it probably needs to make $400 million or more to break even. So it might limp to possible close to break even, but it's not gonna. But it's definitely doing. That weekend it came out with the Flash, they both were it was the lowest opening ever of Pixar, and then the Flash was also a disaster. People were oh boy.
Movies are not back yet.
Yeah, now they are.
Gotcha.
They're back. Barbie and Oppenheimer brought them back. Hammer. But other news, actually, I think breaking right before we started recording this week, is there's gonna be a Lando Disney Plus show on for Star Wars, with Donald Glover and his brother Stephen Glover writing it, and obviously Donald Glover back to star as young Lando.
Why do I remember a rumor of that being not a thing? It was canceled, or it was bad news, they didn't approve, but that's real now?
They were talking about it in December of 2020, and actually, speaking of Haunted Mansion, Justin Simien, who is the director of Haunted Mansion, was attached to write it, and I think also maybe direct episodes of it. And he since left the project, and now the Glover brothers are stepping in to write it.
It's just going to be one crazy episode of Atlanta, but
yeah. So obviously set sometime between Solo or post Solo, I'd imagine, or I guess it could be pre Solo. I mean, who knows? But yeah, but it will be Don Glover kind of running around doing young Lando stuff. Which, I mean, fine. I mean, Don Glover is he's probably one of the best parts of Solo. I mean, yeah, Lando is definitely one of the best parts of that movie.
Yeah, the movie got better when he showed up.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no release date, no other details. They're writing it. They're signed on to write it right now, so they're working on that. I'm assuming they're probably working on that because they can't. They're not acting anything right now, so.
But I feel, is it a scab work if he starts writing something for this?
Well, I mean, they signed on, but I guess that I mean, they're not. If they can't actually write it, then they're not gonna they won't write until the strike's over. But they're signed on to if the strike ends, they'll start writing it. Okay. Unless Don Glover isn't unless he's not in the Writers Guild, then he's not breaking the strike because he's not in the guild. But I assume he would be.
Yeah, I just feel as actors and writers teaming up to not do like any work, it'd be weird if, it's kind of like making someone on the production crew that isn't SAG certified or the Writer Guild certified. Is the Writer Guild also called a SAG?
Well, it's the WGA, so the Writers Guild of America, and then SAG-AFTRA is Screen Actors Guild and American Film and TV something actors or something.
It's a great time for pretty much the
Acronyms.
janitors of the companies to get a new position.
Yeah.
Someone or script doctors who aren't any of those parts. Granted, that's how we got the influx of terrible reality TV shows. Just people that had no real creative writing in them, but they knew human drama.
Well, you also can't, like, if a script is already written and you can start shoot. Well, they're not shooting out because the actors are also strike. But like, if the actors were on strike and they were shooting the movie with the script, you can't like you could not change the script until the writer's strike was over, because you can't. That's you need someone to write the changes. Yeah, you need a writer to write the changes. So you have to literally just shoot the script as is. Or, I mean, like last time, like Quantum of Solace and like Revenge of the Fallen, all those terrible movies that came out at post strike, like they were just like they had like an outline of a script, and there's like, I don't know, we'll make it up.
Oof.
Or they had like non guild script writers write based on the outline or something.
And that's how we end up with some questionable movies.
Quantum of Solace,
bad TV show.
Yep. The end of like was the second season of Heroes, I think, or like Heroes version. Definitely got caught. That totally got caught in like the writer's strike, the previous writer's strike. I think Lost, definitely got hit with that too.
They survived the whole strike though. Like they made it to the end of their show.
Yeah. Well, there were shows that survived, but like there was definitely, whatever season the Writers Guild strike was happening, you could tell like the quality just went down. Like, but yeah, hopefully we get some more. We'll get some Lando news in the future. We'll find out what that show is going to be about. And then last bit of news for this week is we found out. I think this was at Comic-Con for a DC like animated panel, or just a DC sort of DC panel. But there's going to be a animated movie for Watchmen and an animated movie for Crisis on Infinite Earths. So like two of the biggest comic book stories of all time are getting DC animated movies.
I feel like you don't really need an animated movie for Watchmen.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because it's weird, because there was the motion comic that was actually really good. Yeah, so it's like, and that was, I mean, this movie would basically be just like
a comic.
Yeah. So so this new anime movie would basically be a slightly more animated version of the motion comic. And then it would just be like, it would be like the comic version, not the Zack Snyder version.
I guess it'll fall more in line to the HBO TV show. That's based on the comic.
Yeah, giant squid. We'll get the giant squid this time, but not the Dr. Manhattan bombs.
I didn't mind the Dr. Manhattan bombs.
No, that was a perfectly reasonable change. Like, I guess they didn't think that people would be able to take a giant squid. But then a few years later, we get fucking Starro and Suicide Squad. So times have changed.
Oh yeah.
And then Crisis on Infinite Earths is going to be obviously based on the classic storyline. It seems a little early for that, because we're a little bit we're like a year or two into like the new DC animated universe, because they ended it with like that big Apocalypse War. That was like their Avengers. That was like their Avengers Endgame, where they wrapped up like the first iteration of the DC animated universe. Now we're in like a new rebooted universe, but now they're gonna do like Crisis on Infinite Earths already.
But are they tying it into what's going on with the Flashpoint Part 2, or is it going to be? Because yeah, it feels like that should have been the climax to another arc, not or a halfway
that should have
point,
been
not as the introduction.
Yeah, because we're only 6 movies into like the new animated universe. Like the universe that kicked off with like Superman, Man of Tomorrow, I think was the first one, and then there's been like a few, like War World just came out this week. That's like one of the new animated movies.
Oh, I totally not been paying attention to the rebooted movies.
Yeah, because they had all the ones up to Apocalypse War, and Apocalypse War that was the end of that universe, and then it basically restarted, and then there's I think it's Superman Man of Tomorrow is the first one, that was the first one of the new universe.
Okay,
and all the ones.
Wait. So there's something called the Tomorrowverse.
That's the new universe. That's the new universe.
Okay, so Tomorrowverse. Okay, I just
yes.
never knew that there was an actual word for this timeline that they built. Otherwise, they call it the DCAMU, the DC Animated Universe, which ended, like I said, with Apocalypse War. And then, wow, they really, because I'm looking at the timeline on Wikipedia between Apocalypse War, that was in May, and then August, which was like, bam, we're back, here's a new one. And then every third movie is a standalone. Soul of the Dragon, Injustice, Catwoman.
All those are like what ifs, or like not in the like Tomorrowverse, I guess. Because the Tomorrowverse is like Superman Man of Tomorrow, Justice Society World War II, Long Halloween, Green Lantern Beware My Power, Legion of Superheroes, and Justice League War World. And then
Wait,
I guess
Halloween is part of the Tomorrowverse? Huh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was part of like that was a complete standalone, just because pretty much no one else shows up in that besides Batman. You know, Batman is the only superhero in that one. Everyone else is a villain.
Mm-hmm.
And then
so that's 7 movies, which it seems a little like definitely seems a little bit early to do like a Crisis, unless you're gonna like
they needed another superhero movie between that. You know, like they needed
there's only one Justice League movie, so we barely like established this new Justice League for this new Tomorrowverse.
Oh, there's one that came out last week. World War.
War World, yeah, that's the first one. It's like Justice. That's the first Justice League like branded like Tomorrowverse movie.
Gotcha.
Because there was Justice Society, and there was Legion of Superheroes, but there hasn't been a Justice League. This is the first one that's like a Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Justice League movie for this new universe.
Yeah, but now I got a question about the Justice Society, because isn't that like Golden Age version?
Yeah, that was World War II. That was like Hawkman, Hourman, Jay Garrick, Flash. Like,
see, I didn't watch that one, and I feel like I was confused Justice Society with that other Justice League movie that was where they fought World War II again. New Frontier.
Yeah, that one's also weird, because I think that one's also like not in. That's like standalone. That was its own thing too.
Yeah, that's a standalone. Oh, and then Justice League Crisis on Two Earths was sort of
they did 2 Earths.
Yeah.
Without even all of them.
And then only part of that is connected, apparently. So Crisis on Two Earth had its own timeline, and then Doom sort of connects into that that storyline. But the Doom storyline continues in Justice League Doom, and then it just goes away. Then there's no more like versions of that. So yeah, there's a couple of different timelines.
Yeah, if you weren't aware of how the DC animated movies work and you just watched them straight through, you'd be like, wait, how? Because it's like one of them is like in the Arkham universe, the Suicide Squad movies are in the Arkham universe, and there's like the Dark Knight
in the Dark Knight, yeah, and then there's another
Dark
one
Knight
that's
Returns, its own separate thing. Yeah,
technically
Harley Quinn
the
is like
Batman Gotham Knights is the Nolan verse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even though that movie introduced you a whole bunch of questions that didn't make any sense in the Nolan verse. I still can't get over the fact that Batman invented like an Iron Man armor suit, and it's too good that he's like, I can't use this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I want to get into it because it's still in my head as like a core memory. Do you remember in that movie? There's the skit with the Iron Man costume where someone shoots at him, the bullet ricochets off the metal suit and hits the other like bank robber or someone, and Batman gets guilt because of that. He's like, "Oh, that bullet was like I could have stopped that. I could have prevented that guy from getting hurt from the bullet from the other guy."
Mm-hmm.
But granted, Batman has used the bad guys as human shields for getting hit. You know, like I don't know why that was like he's thrown people into other people's gunfire.
Yeah.
But that one time,
and if it's the Nolan verse Batman, he also was like to Ra's al Ghul, he's like, I don't have to save you, like and
literally
like,
let a
blow
man
up
die.
in some way.
Yeah. And this didn't make any goddamn sense. And this is after letting Ra's al Ghul died.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not even sure if the bullet actually hit his armor. He put like a bullet repellent thing on his suit.
Mm-hmm.
It like had a magnet. They go into depth about this goddamn bat suit, and then he just abandons it at the end. He's like, I don't need it.
That would make such a weird like if they actually like they brought that actually into like Dark Knight or something.
But it makes sense where if Batman is in a dire situation, he can't defeat them with just his wits and his mind, you know, or something out of his utility belt. I've read. I'm watching like highlights where Batman will summon shit that makes no sense of why he has it, but he built a contingency where he built a mech. It's happened in other things. Like was it Batman versus Robin or Robin versus Batman, the Court of Owls one?
Mm-hmm.
He has a mech in the Batcave. Just boom, mech. Who's this for? And then in the comic, there is a mech. I think he has two mechs. One is to stop him, that it activates. It's what he trains with, and also what he uses that as a protocol if he ever kills. This mech gets activated and hunts down Batman. And that's in like a recent Batman comic.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a mech that basically like is an anti-Justice League suit, that everything in the suit is designed to take out the Justice League. Because now that they know about like the Doom Protocol, he needed something else. He needed something that wasn't going to be obvious. It was basically the whole contingency plan where the whole thing's made out of magic. Is made out of it's blessed with magic, so Superman's power it can't like fuck with it. It has freezing abilities to mess with Flash. It has some yellow components to mess with Green Lantern. It has fire to mess with Martian, and then it also has magic. Oh wait, did I say that? Oh no.
Yeah.
He found some sort of metal that can like mess with Wonder Woman, and like that's what he has in his basement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he built that, and it's like it makes sense for a brilliant strategist that have like this like death machine in his like garage just in case his friends turn on him, which happens a lot in this universe, you know, in this story. So yeah, no, Batman can have a suit. I don't mind one day. Even the Batman v Superman, he legit had an armor suit like
Yes.
with him.
But that's from Dark Knight Returns. That was like from Dark Knight Returns. That was a classic Batman suit.
Well, yeah,
The Batman Superman suit. Yeah.
It's cool to see that basically he knew you take out Superman, he's not gonna win in a regular fight. He needed help, and I could see basically one day having that incorporated, but not in a hyped up marketing scheme because we all knew that was gonna happen. That wasn't a surprise from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish it was a surprise, but we knew that was coming from just like the first trailer. But how awesome would it have been a big reveal to see that suit? Anywho, what's next on the topic?
Well, so Watchmen and Crisis on Infinite Earths, they're coming out next year, and Watchmen is getting rated R, so that it's gonna be hopefully a pretty faithful adaptation of the Watchmen comic. No like definite release date, but just both next year sometime.
Think they'll incorporate Watchmen into the Tomorrowverse?
Maybe that's like the teaser at the end of it or something. Maybe they're part of Crisis. Maybe like Watchmen comes out first. It's like the portal opens up to like the DC universe. Because aren't all the Watchmen just in the DC, like Dr. Manhattan just in the DC universe now? They're all like fighting Superman or whatever. Like, was it a whole thing of like
that was
the whole like
second
event?
New 52? The second or third one that they introduced Watchmen as a thing. I don't remember. I don't know if they're still around. I haven't watched all. I haven't read a lot of that.
There's definitely. I remember. I didn't read it, but there's definitely an event where like Dr. Manhattan was like the main, like, I don't know if he was the villain, but it was like he was behind everything of the events. From like he was in a different universe, but he's manipulating all the universes. Oh, he created the New 52. That's what like they revealed. He was responsible for Flashpoint, not the Flash. Which I don't think we'll see in this animated movie, but who knows? But that's gonna do it for news this week. So why don't you jump into show and tell? And Chris, what have you been watching over the last week or so here?
So I finished that documentary on American Gladiators.
Yep.
Muscles and Mayhem.
That live tour episode is crazy.
Dude, that whole last episode takes a goddamn 90-degree turn from what you expect the story to be, and it becomes so goddamn like emotionally gut-wrenching and sad, like and hard. It's like hopeful and respectable, and then just sort of like it really emotionally plays with you. I kind of want to see an American Gladiator movie based on the story, not just. I mean, it's cool to see
like a dramatized like American Gladiator movie.
Wouldn't you, based on that era? Then, like I said, I think I told you before when we were talking about it, you kind of wish they were trying to explain the second version of American Gladiators, but I didn't. I knew like this one focused so much about the original cast that and it is very like at that last episode you realize how corrupt the executive that is like starting the show is, like that woman who just sort of goes, yeah, they signed the contract, not my fault they didn't read it. Like you realize how like insane she sounds, and she justifies it by going like, that's just the business, I don't have to, like, it's not my fault. Like it's a very like, maybe she did say something positive or something in a defense or sort of acknowledging that it wasn't the best choices to do that, to screw over your gladiators, but the edits or just how she speaks, there is no sense of pity or empathy about it, right? It just sort of comes off as that's just the business. These people are dumb for not reading the contract. I was just like so mad.
Yeah.
I needed like a minute to like resume watching just because
it was probably at the time when they started it seemed like a good contract because they didn't realize how huge it was going to be. But then when it got huge, it was a terrible contract. And the guy said like they had, like Gladiator said like absolute point of like it's our faces are on video games, lunch boxes, and posters, and toys, and we're not getting any money from it. You're just using our faces, and you're getting all the money for it.
And then
there's
pretty
like,
much getting their bodies and their minds destroyed.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then there's like, well, you're fired. You're you're fired. All of you are fired.
Yeah.
We'll bring in like terrible like knockoff gladiators.
That's why it's crazy when that that woman at the end, like the executive, sort of goes, "Yeah, it made us money, blah blah blah," and then she probably did start to talk about the second version of the show, and then the producers were like, "We're not interested. Like, nah, we're not giving you more screen time to promote how awesome you are. No." I had that feeling. You know, I was judging from the tone of the first few episodes up until the end. I know I was curious to know how that started and what's up with those guys, but no. When they said like we were American Gladiators, like it ends in such a like Hollywood like tone. I was like, oh man, so cool.
I wouldn't
I
like.
want to hang out with Nitro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They kind of hinted at it, but I was like, they hinted at it a little bit, but I would have liked to see a little bit more. Like I think I mentioned like last week, but like the kids version because that was such a weird thing, and then also the international version because like I think they mentioned it on like I think it's the last episode, but it's like especially like the UK version was gigantic.
The British Gladiators.
It was like even bigger than the American version. Like
that. I never heard of that one.
I think it was just because it obviously wasn't American Gladiators. I think they just called it Gladiators. But I mean that could probably be its own documentary by itself. It's just like these Gladiators spin-offs and like the international versions and stuff. Find those guys. Find the British Gladiators and talk to them.
Yeah, the reason why these people became gladiators is interesting because it's not just randos they just picked. It seems like they had to be athletic.
Mm-hmm.
So
what was the thing with because that one like guy who was like the contestant, like the bald guy, he got like arrested in Mexico or something.
Oh my god, what a weird.
He was a drug cartel mule or something, or
yeah. He basically after Gladiators then just like you thought he was be this wholesome like country guy and everything, and he just did Gladiators and then retired on a farm. No, turns out like he uses like he knew his skills of like how to hide shit and became a coyote like
yeah,
the human trafficker and then drug smuggler, gangster, and then he did years in jail. But because he got caught in Mexico, and then because of his 1 or 2 times in American Gladiator on film, because that was really popular in Mexico, he had street cred. Like the jailers respected him, then the people in the jail like the prisoners respect. What like that's like that's the thing. Like it drops at that last moment. It's so much to take in that it goes up and down between where are they now, what's up with the gladiators, some of their contestant, then this guy who's just the outlier of just okay, so what happened? And then it's like, yeah, and then then he's like, oh, I tell people about my story. I also have like 5 kids, and I was like, and he's like, I think he's like Christian, so I was like, what? That guy's out of a movie. That guy's like a movie character that just stepped into this.
And then this whole thing about that they screwed him over because he didn't want to shoot another show. So they're like, well, okay, then you're, or like, yeah, well, it was. I forget exactly what it was, but like I think it was because they want like they're gonna do like another show or like more shows, and he's just like, I don't want to be here anymore. So it's like, well, all right, then we're gonna come up with like give a bunch of like fake penalties and you lose. So.
Oh, he was too good. My understanding was that I didn't know that the contestants stay on for a while. I thought it was pretty much like.
Well, the other contestant, like the woman who like won it, like she was on like 6 times or whatever. She's like just on it constantly and like was winning constantly. She's like the greatest contestant in the history of American Gladiators.
Yeah, from my understanding, for her, she was just like a natural athlete. And
yeah, I'm sorry, especially they didn't make her a gladiator at that point. If she just came back to kept winning all the time, just like make her a gladiator. Like,
I feel like that should be fair. Where if you're the champion, you get to join them.
Yeah.
and then you pretty much are in it, and then you can leave when you want, but joining them is sort of the goal, and then you're part of the gladiator. That's what it was.
But I guess if you're not right, if you're not like a bodybuilder, or you want to do like steroids and stuff, then maybe that's not what you really what you want to do.
Yeah, granted, it's a horrible work schedule, let alone the consequences of being in there so much. Because basically they had to take roids, or else their body was gonna break down.
And then and other stuff like whatever that like the one thing they mentioned, like the painkiller thing that they took too. That wasn't oxycodone, but it was basically like oxycodone.
I wonder if it was just like straight heroin.
It like numbs like the muscle.
Oh yeah, the injection thing. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like it's instant relief and get ready for the next match tomorrow.
Yeah. I think that was the tour episode, because they had to start taking on the tour, or else they were gonna like never make it to the tour.
The tour made them so much money, but not the gladiators. Like but I guess the expense to drive around with 8 trucks and move all the equipment was really bad.
Yeah.
But the big thing for me was like, oh, you can do this like regional. I'm surprised they haven't figured out how to, I don't know, do like if they ever want to do American Gladiators again, just have like a state thing where every state gladiator from America, and then just kind of start eliminating who's the best. I mean, we have Ninja Warrior, but we only do Ninja Warrior, I think, in LA. So you have to go to LA. You have no one to compete against. You just compete against the time.
Yeah.
I would love if they combine the concept of Ninja Warrior, but there's a gladiator randomly shows up and fucks around on like the course.
I think we need a documentary now about some of the other like shows. Like we need like a Battle Dome documentary. Did you ever see Battle Dome, Chris?
I don't remember Battle Dome.
Battle Dome was American Gladiators, but they made it more like wrestling, where it's like Terry Crews was one of the guys on there, and it was very like they would have like promos, and they would cut promos like a wrestling thing, but they would do like gladiator challenges. So it was like this very like it was like a mix of like WWE and American Gladiators.
Okay.
They played up, and then they also had like scripted like stuff of like, oh, they're having a feud, and then they even brought in like WCW. It was like it was like a crossover between like Battle Dome and WCW for like a while. So there's more like season long arcs of like, oh, this guy hates this guy, but they also have to like fight, but they have to like do like the wall or whatever. Yeah, there's regular contestants there, but then there's also Terry Crews yelling at a guy because he steals his girlfriend or something.
Damn.
Yeah, what was it? Terry Crews was? Yeah, he was T-Money. Yeah, look up Battle Domes. That was like I remember that was on UPN when I was little, like Saturday afternoon or something.
Okay. I mean,
and there was
it's cool to see more documentary things that aren't just typical like ESPN style. Just hey, here are the highlight reels, and here's some awesome facts, and that's it.
Well, I'm definitely curious to see, because there is a 30 for 30 American Gladiators one, which I've not watched yet. But I'm curious to see how that is different from this one. I think what I've read is that one there's not. I think there's definitely like gladiators interviewed, but it's more about like the producers and like the battle, like about who actually created American Gladiators. Because I guess there's like a feud between like was it Jerry Ferrara, like the Elvis guy, and then some of the other people that created it, and there's like this like they were like arguing about who actually came up with the concept and like who was the concept and stuff like that.
That makes sense. That's probably the more like authorized version of the story, where this was the unauthorized, so they can kind of say things off the record and whatnot.
Because that Jerry Ferrara, like, well, I'm not sure, is he still alive? Jerry Ferrara, I don't know if he's still alive, but like, I mean
that guy, if he died from a drug binge, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but if he's still alive, then he definitely was like, he obviously was not on this American Gladiators episode or documentary, so.
Because they're like, hey, we want to know like all this. He's all like, I would see that guy and imagine, no, that guy does not want to talk about it. And a quick Google search says, I think he's alive still. But he's only done American Gladiators. He has not produced anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's still alive. He just lives in Vegas.
I'm sure they probably went to him there, and he's probably like, hell no, I'm not going to do like.
I mean, he got his money. He retired.
Yeah.
And then he opened up a whole bunch of gyms, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, actually, no. And then I'm looking at now he's trying to sell a movie based on American Gladiators. Like, he's trying to sell the...
Your dramatized version.
Yeah. But... Or, I don't know. It's like he's trying to make a movie. He might be trying to make a movie that is like American Gladiators, sort of like a post-apocalyptic concept.
Oh my god.
I'm like reading this. I'm like, what is happening?
If Nitro stuff was in it, I'd be down for it.
It was actually like, all the American Gladiators. It's like gladiatorial
OG crew. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm fine with that concept. You know, it's silly enough, and it's like, you know, I could see a gritty reboot idea. It'd just be Thunderdome. Oh, you could book him. You could book him for speaking fees.
Oh man.
If you're he can travel from Vegas to your whatever, and then you could book him. Like, I just found like a speaking site where you could hire speakers, and he's one of them. And I'm reading his contact info. So my birthday's coming up in a few months.
A personal appearance of Jerry Ferrara.
Just seeing him, just motivate us and talk. And then he's just like, you know, I made American Gladiators. Like, all right. If I can do it, you can too. I'm like, I kind of understand the message, Johnny.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else besides Muscles and Mayhem, Chris?
So I watched Hypnotic.
Yes.
Based on your review of it, your glowing review that you didn't want to spoil it. So I
don't know if it's glowing. I said it was insane, and it probably definitely needs to be seen to like be believed. How crazy it is.
Totally is. It totally is a you have to see it to understand what's going on, and even when you watch it, you can't believe what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So Hypnotic stars Ben Affleck.
Spoilers for Hypnotic.
Yeah, because really, you did a good job by not giving it away, because the movie having, I don't know, 4 acts or more, depending on how you want to approach it, is insane. And I feel this movie shouldn't be called Hypnotic. It should have been called like Domino or something.
Yeah.
Or The Division. Because everything about the naming in this movie seems so generic and a derivative word from something else that probably is better, but this is just like a bonkers like idea that I think makes sense as a TV show if you groomed it out better. Right? Like, I think the ideas are a fun concept. I just don't think it works well as a movie. So
I think Hypnotic, like most of the movie, is probably the closest thing to like a Christopher Nolan title, because this whole movie is trying to be Christopher Nolan, but it's stupid. It makes no sense. Like, it's trying to be it's trying to be Inception, but Inception like makes sense. It lays out exactly what the rules are. It's like a very understandable.
It stays with it. The rules stay with it.
Yes.
Even if there might be, because I know Inception's not like a perfect movie. It's got plot holes. It's got like some creative liberties to sort of make sense. Fine, you know. Hypnotic, but every bizarre.
Yeah, but Inception, like everything with like the levels and like how the time works in different levels, that makes sense. They laid it out very well. This is like, you go through like the first half of the movie and you think it's one thing, and then they're like, nope, this is actually what it is. The rules are
I would say
different.
only not even first half. It's like every half hour there is something reintroduced. This movie's only like an hour and 30 minutes,
90
maybe
minutes. Yeah.
90 minutes, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. There's 3 acts, you can feel distinctively when one part ends and there's a whole new reintroduction and then another reintroduction.
Yeah.
So if you told me this was made by a no-name director, I would believe you. But the fact that Robert Rodriguez made this movie, it's just weird.
With none of his like flair or style or anything. It's like him. It's him trying to make a Christopher Nolan movie. Like they said, like make it look like Christopher Nolan. don't put any of your style or character into it. Just make it look like a Christopher Nolan movie.
I mean, he hired his friends. He brought over some characters.
Jeff Fahey's, but yeah, is like the only like is like he has to show up. I'm shocked Danny Trejo is not in it.
Alicia Braga is
Alice Braga, yeah.
Yeah, she was from Predators, so it's like people he worked with, and probably Jackie Earl Hurley. He probably worked with him at one point, or
probably. I'm shocked. I'm shocked Danny Trejo didn't show up as like
I'm shocked too. I mean, that is. Why was that not a construct? Just say, hey, why is Danny Trejo here? It's like he's not here. Whoa.
Like there's a scene. This is like a scene at like a Trejo's Tacos or something.
Yeah, and he thinks, oh, this is a great taco. It's like, you're not really eating tacos. Whoa, it's a construct. When did this happen? Whoa.
That'd be fantastic if he's like thinks he's eating a taco. He's eating like a cardboard like cutout of a taco or something, or just air. Like he's.
So before we go further into the whole concept of the reality thing, let's get into the plot. Do you want to go over the overarching plot? Because I feel like now is the perfect time to explain it. Because if we've heard the episode before, it's just Zach only gave just the first level plot. Now we can get in the whole big reveal of what like the whole movie was about, and it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll go first. So the main plot, Hypnotic, the one that just rip away from the bullshit trailer, rip away from anything the marketing material has said. The movie's about a world where basically psychics exist, and the 2 most powerful psychics had a beautiful psychic baby that they basically are gonna make an Akira.
Yes.
Like they basically were like, we made an Akira baby. Okay.
They work for the Division.
Oh my god, just such a bland name. And the Division all dressed like everything they wear is red. Did you notice that in the stupid nursing room, and then the doctors, and then the like delivery room, and then the training?
The flashback where like Ben Affleck and Alice Braga are in like the Blazers.
And the Blazers is hilarious. It's not like that's their business casual. That's just what they wear all the time. Like no matter if it's a military op, if it's a exam, if it's a casual Friday at work, just the dumb red blazers that is just low production costuming.
Yeah,
I would rather them not have the blazers then.
Yeah, it makes them look like they're like ushers or like fancy pages for like a theater. Like, oh, here's your seat, sir. Like,
but if you told me in the John Wick universe that the red blazer guys are another like faction, a gang.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like they look like guys you would see in the background of an action movie that get picked off, and they basically in real production time they're just trading the blazers to the next actor, right, to save you cost. Yeah. Totally makes sense. This is supposed to be like a covert op, like government.
Are they? I don't know. What are they even trying? What do they even do? What are they? Because they never explain anything they do besides try to like manipulate Ben Affleck.
No. We don't know anything. They do drop like 2 lines where they said they are responsible for guiding and influencing major political and like economical changes in the world. Like that's the that's sort of like what the Division does, and they want free will. There is a stupid subtlety about like free will and commercialism and choice and almost like an allegory to less government interference.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that vibe? It's almost like they live.
It's in this construct, so it's maybe not even real, but like when Ben Affleck when they go to like the hacker guy, and then there's like all the like events that the Hypnotics have been a part of on the wall, like newspaper clippings and stuff, or it's like the computer screen of like here's I've been tracking Hypnotics, here's everything they've been involved in, including like 9/11 and all sort of stuff. It's like
yeah, essentially that's what psyops are. It's a commentary, I think, on. I mean, to me, this makes more sense if it was better handled, because it's how you influence people by doing something that normally is a little out of left field in order to influence like the true goal, and they call that psyops just because it messes with like your psyche. And that's like a real thing to some degree. Marketing does that all the time. You know, it's sort of like people say the buzzwords and then it's like you subconsciously do it. It is sort of hypnotizing. It really does work on susceptible people or sort of people in that moment, in that category. This is like ideal things, and that's just kind of how humans are programmed. You know, like we're suckers for certain concepts and concepts that really draw you in to do something. So fine, right? Granted, like me and you, Zach, we're both action fans. Like we're prone to like watching action movies, regardless if they're good or bad. It's just like, okay, like this is for us. And if a company targeted us, that's just what happens. Like you're targeting marketing. So you just know your demographic. But like it doesn't even do that well to get deep with the concept, right? It's sort of like a play around concept that I feel like they stumbled in and just, oh shit, like look, an allegory. Anyway, let's keep going. Like that was an accident. We didn't mean to trip into like how marketing works. But here's the insane thing. A movie about tricking people and influencing their choice didn't do even a good job in tricking people to go watch it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. You know, it's a high concept movie, and they didn't think it was too high concept that no one could just walk in and watch it. And I'm pretty sure, you know, the reviews, the fan reviews, and everyone that else has seen Hypnotic saw the first half and was like, legit up like the second twist in the movie and went, fuck you, movie. Like, you're not clever. Because even when you do the big reveal and it turns out that Ben Affleck is also a psyop or a hypnotic, and it comes off confusing because that means in the movie, like I think we talked about this earlier, Zach, where the villains purposely put hypnotic into the guy's mind, because at that point he did not know what hypnotic was. He unlocks it by accident.
Ben Affleck and Alice Braga intentionally erased each other's minds so they wouldn't reveal where their daughter was.
But the one person knows what hypnotic is, and so got reprogrammed by the bad guys, but it's not really shown how she got reprogrammed. It's just it's supposed to be that it was in a joint unit.
Or that's part of the plan the whole time, is like keep her in the division and then.
Yeah, you didn't know that? At the end of the movie, it's revealed that they had a plan. Everything was into their plan.
Yes.
So it kind of makes sense later. See that now. This is the thing. See, I'm doing gymnastics, sort of explaining bad plot, where he purposely wiped her mind to like a good point, where when she gets reprogrammed by the hypnotics, which you don't see really, you just have to assume from just really quick dialogue, very fast dialogue. It's like a one line and forget it thing. So that basically she's now hunting and trying to trick Ben Affleck, who has also wiped his mind, but not completely, because once he can get like the key trigger word, he goes back to normal. where like she was completely wiped and had no idea about the trigger word or anything. She was unaware, like the audience. I guess she's supposed to be the audience character, right? However, the problem is that like it sort of then makes sense in the beginning where she keeps saying, "Oh no, maybe because she's the one who tells Ben Affleck what hypnotics are." So it's not like William Fichtner showed up and went, "You're hypnotic." It's like it was like a joint thing between her character and William Fichtner's character. So did she plant the idea to keep bringing hypnotic so that hopefully one day he can remember what hypnotic is and like make it a deep-seated memory?
That was a subtle part of the plan, like the daughter's plan the entire time, is to make her say like,
I have no idea.
It's just cosmic hypnotics.
But like of the dumb plan that Ben Affleck and Alicia, Ben Affleck and Alicia Varga had, and then the daughter had like another plan that was sort of spin on their plan.
That was the master plan. It was the daughter's plan because that was the whole master's, like her plan was the like end game of everything.
Yeah, is to wait for her to get stronger somehow, like Jedi training. Just
Jeff Fahey's just training her like, use your mind powers. Like,
and then there's a lot of like giant holes. It wasn't like she was being trained by another hypnotic. It wasn't like she had like a rebellion group to like go to and help. Just she sort of did this on her own.
Mm-hmm.
So
she just set up a lot of dominoes. Just kept setting up dominoes.
Oh my god! See, so she set up dominoes, and I get it. That's what I'm saying. The movie should have been called like Dominoes, or there probably is a word for the first peg in a domino that sets off the chain events, right? There probably is some sort of weird term or some German word that they could have used besides hypnotic, because they throw that word around like it's something really like a superhero thing or like an agency thing, and the rules for how this works makes no goddamn sense. I get the daughter being a brilliant strategist. It actually is a brilliant plan for her side, right? However, the bad guys version plan is so dumb, but their whole thing is using your brain and having different brain waves. And they could figure out this thing, and their whole gimmick is figuring out things. It doesn't matter if you're like a psychic. If you have no plans or no kind of like intellect or strategy, you're just a person who knows all these things, but you have no idea how to put them together. You know what I mean? Like you have to be very creative and then also have like a good tactical mind to think about like the possibilities.
Well, they just keep making it more and more complicated of what they can do, what their power sets are. Because if it was just like Purple Man from like Jessica Jones, where like you tell someone something and they have to do that thing, or they believe that thing. That could have been like the only power they have. But then they have like inception powers. They can manipulate the world. So it's like Ben Affleck at one point like sees like trains in the sky, like the world warps around him, and then they can make like Matrix style like fake realities.
Yeah.
And mind wiping.
It's almost like a Rick and Morty like reality bending kind of bullshit. Like, oh no, it's not even like it's been a dream the whole time. It's my brain only sees this right now. Meanwhile, everyone else is just staring at them, waiting for them to like do the next move.
Yeah, they do the terrible like South Park when they had like the psychic battle. Like it's been like Ben Affleck and like William Fichtner just like staring at each other while like the screen vibrates.
Okay. So the hypnotic thing, I could not figure out how it works, because it seems like, does it work only when you look at the person? And then it's like, up until a certain point in the movie, then it's just, as long as you're near them, you can give off the brainwave, I guess, that like you don't even be aware of them. You can just set it off. So if you enter the domain of that,
because the bank heist thing is like makes perfect sense. Like William Fichtner is like walking in and telling people different things, and they're doing those things.
Yes,
but then
hypnotic suggestion makes sense if everything is sort of physically real and not mentally. Like the true thing that Ben Affleck is seeing, like in his version, you know, like I it's so goddamn stupid to explain that, but
yeah, because later when Fichtner is like in the train yard and stuff, he's just like standing there silently, like staring at Ben Affleck, like just like I guess generating hypnotic waves at him or something, and that's why Ben Affleck is like seeing like crazy visuals. And but then he has a mental block that's like that his daughter put on him that's protecting him, but it only lasts a certain amount of time because William Fichtner is so powerful or something.
Yeah, and then some of the contract rules where if you have an outline or certain key, like one or two key things sort of representing like whatever
A building,
a building or a person or an action, your brain fills in the blank, because that makes sense with the whole suggestion thing. But like the Purple Man, he can only suggest what he sees. He can't really suggest something that, you know what I mean? And for that, it's very simple. His thing is, go do this. All right, I don't care what happens.
Yeah.
Just go do it, right? This is very complex in terms of the world building. They hypnotically suggest it to Ben Affleck in his brain. Like, hey, you're a cop. You look like this. You dress like this. You know this much information. They had to build a whole story.
He's basically in the Matrix. Like he's in like he's in like the Matrix. He's in this like other reality. But then
plugged into some reality. Yeah.
But when you see it, it's like, oh, he's just walking around a shitty backlot. He's walking around Rodriguez's like half like not set up backlot, driving around in a golf cart, tapping metal, like. And then
the scene that gets crazy.
Well, the one scene like when he first like wakes up and he realizes like, oh, I was in a fake reality. He's on like a bed, like he's on like some sort of like device bed thing. Which that should have just been the thing, like, oh, they strapped into this device that made him think he was like in this other reality. But then they show you like, he had to walk around and like do things for them to like do the construct.
Yeah, it's a very big like production that it just seemed like a giant waste of money and time for this division to make them do. Can you imagine you are a hypnotic person? And in order to unlock the super hypnotic, you have to pretend for 12 takes about this daily life in generic city. You know, it's like, all right, you gotta stand here. I gotta pretend to read the newspaper so that, like, you know, Danny can freak out and do this move and blah blah blah. You know, like
it's like Jill. It's like, hey Jill, you have to take your shirt off every time because we're gonna tell you it's hot. You have to like walk in the middle of the street and like have cars crash around you.
And you gotta make sure Ben Affleck sees you, or else none of this works. I don't know. It again, we can dissect the small details about it, but the basic plot line is crazy. However,
yes.
I could say that this movie probably would be better in a comic. Like if you can explain things and figure out maybe a coherent like explanation of the whole concept, not just rushing the last 10 minutes of the movie to explain everything, I think this would have been better. But I think the size
definitely cut some of the like more complicated, like make it less complicated, like just make it like simplify a lot of the stuff, because a lot of it's just like a hat on a hat of like, oh, it's a construct, but then it's actually Ben Affleck's plan, but it's actually his daughter's plan. But actually he's a hypnotic. It's like they just keep adding like all this other like extraneous stuff onto it.
Yes. They could have trimmed that fat. That concept has so much like excess that it doesn't have any emotional impact to anything.
Like the movie where it's literally just William Fichtner is like a superpowered evil hypnotic guy, and Ben Affleck is actually a cop and he's actually trying to hunt him down. That would have been like a perfectly fine movie.
If the twist at the halfway point is that that's all a lie, and then you get this other version, fine with that too. But having it be some triple, quadruple bullshit master plans that keep colliding and really rely on just dumb luck. You know?
It's like you thought your plan is actually my plan that I set into motion years ago with my daughter, who's her plan is the master plan, and you're all just like everything that you guys are doing is part of her plan.
And then, yeah, I get William Fichtner's bumble, like the degree where the division is this like covert op thing, and it's just like they got tricked so easily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they even need to even be getting a super like a messiah hypnotic person that they're like, oh my god, this is gonna be like the ultimate weapon. They couldn't even get their own shit together. You think they're gonna control the ultimate weapon?
Yeah.
So that part was weird. But it's definitely worth watching at least once to just experience how crazy of like this should have been a straight to DVD movie in terms of what actually like plot wise happens, because it just seems like a art house sci-fi movie. But it's got a full production and it looks okay at times. It has sort of different tones, especially when they're in the bunker and it becomes like a neo-noir kind of like film for like a split second.
where Ben Affleck is like constantly like having to force himself not to murder Alice Braga.
Yep.
He's just like, I got a knife.
Do you think they actually had sex and everyone had to sit there and watch? See? That's what I'm saying. This movie just introduces so much weird, like, wait a minute.
Just like, they're behind like a glass, just like, yep, alright, this is happening.
This is the 12th time they've done this.
Yep.
And then William Fichtner has the line goes, yeah, we up until this point, you always break free. Like, we've done this 12 times and we're going to do it again. And it's just like, what? Try something different.
Don't give Ben Affleck the idea of Hypnotics. Just have him pretend to be an awesome cop, a sad cop.
So the thing I don't understand is that the daughter's plan was to send herself a photo of back when she was 6, right, to the division, so that they would they would show Ben Affleck and then have him do this again.
Well, she sent it to Ben Affleck. She sent it to the division because like
she sent it to the division. Who then
the photo is like, yeah. Then the division's like, oh, this is a clue from Ben Affleck's daughter, but we don't know, or this is a clue to like where Ben Affleck's daughter is. Domino is, but then we need Ben Affleck. We need to trick Ben Affleck into telling us, or like trying to figure out what it actually means, because it just says like find Lev Del Rain or whatever it says on there.
So.
But the picture is actually the trigger. If Ben Affleck sees the picture, then it triggers his like memories to come back eventually, and then he's like, "Oh, I know what this means. I'll go get my daughter."
But the concept is, have they been showing him that photo 12 times, and now it finally took the 13th?
Yeah.
Because I might have not paid attention because my brain was turning off, but when he realizes that he's being he is being tricked, he kind of breaks out of it somehow. Like, they don't explain how he was able to break out. He just sort of does, and you're like, how?
Because they started over again. They show you the beginning of the movie, but they show you like the shitty version that he was actually in, where he's like not in a car, he's in a golf cart, just like driving around the back lots. And then, somehow he's like, oh, he was still aware that of like his powers and everything. So this time he actually got out somehow.
Like,
we don't know why.
I missed something, but it's like, so they've been showing this photo. Took him 12 tries for it to stick, and the 13th try is where like he made his way out.
Yeah.
Right? Is that it? Mm-hmm. The movie doesn't explain that at all. Like that's us just guessing.
Mm-hmm. No explanation of like why he didn't realize this sooner, or why he could have used his power sooner, or like why did they like constantly do it.
Yeah, no idea. I don't know. Maybe some viewers, more and more people will watch this, and just it's definitely gonna be this year's biggest bomb. one of them.
Well, I
but
think the Flash is like
the Flash. The thing is, this wasn't a terrible movie. It just was a very dense concept that had no reason.
It's way too way too overly complicated. Like, but I guess Rodriguez is working on this for like 20 years. Apparently, he first got the idea in like 2002.
That makes sense.
Trying, like, this made for like 2000.
He probably saw Memento when it was, I want to make that. It's basically Memento with like a ton of extra steps.
And then he saw Inception. He's like, oh yeah, let's add some of that stuff in there. Like he's kept watching Christopher Nolan movies.
You're right. He just wanted to be Nolan. Like if you think about it, in 2002, that's only a year after Memento. Memento is about like a photograph with like shit written on it. It's all encrypted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is fucking trying to be Memento. This Memento with guns, like a lot more guns.
But then he kept seeing like new Christopher Nolan movies. Like he saw Inception, and then like, oh, we're gonna add all this like world warping stuff and like more like we're gonna make more twists on it. It's like he's just like he's kept adding like random Christopher Nolan things he liked.
Yeah, this is a fanboy film. However, have you ever seen a movie made by a director who just aping another director's style and has done well? I've never seen a movie that basically wants to be something, especially comedies, when a director is a fan of someone's style and then mimics it, and then it's like, this isn't your movie. You could definitely tell.
Yeah.
The biggest one I think of that was Zack and Mary Make a Porno, and that was a Kevin Smith film trying to be a Judge Apatow film.
Mm-hmm.
And that did okay, but it definitely wasn't a Kevin Smith film. Not because it wasn't Jay and Silent Bob, it just the tone and everything just felt like a Judge Apatow movie. This definitely wanted to be a Nolan movie from the shots and the seriousness and the tone. But it had no soul of its own. And then this movie is bizarre. It's not a it's watchable. It's just confusing and like I don't know. It's entertaining and sort of like like that was something kind of way, I don't know the next time I'll watch this movie. Maybe if I watch it in a group, has like a good amount of them have never seen this.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's not on like any sort of like free streaming like quote unquote free service yet. It's still like a rental. If this shows up like a Netflix or something, then I think it probably a lot more people are gonna be like, hey, have you heard of this crazy Hypnotic movie? Like,
I feel like it might be a cult, like a very weird cult here later on in life, when it's like you look back at the like movies and you're like,
2023.
What the hell's this movie? Yeah, you're like, what's this Ben Affleck movie?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm very prepared for the 20 years from now. Some hipster generation is going to defend Hypnotic.
Hypnotic is secretly great. Like the best, secretly great best movie of 2023. Like,
yeah. I'm not even shitting you, and it's going to be one of those like someone's going to make a weird J-Tube review, J-Tuber of Hypnotic, and it's gonna be like showing up on a top 10 like unappreciative hit movie. I know this movie's not for us yet until like there's an actual Hypnotic division in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's it from me. What about you, Zach? What can you say about your watching habits this week?
Well, I saw a couple things. So I finally got around to seeing The Pope's Exorcist, or as Russell Crowe would say, The Pope's Exorcist. Because if you enjoyed Russell Crowe's Greek accent in Thor: Love and Thunder, he's doing an Italian quote-unquote accent in here. And it's just as ridiculous as that movie. But yeah,
Russell Crowe does good accents besides American and Australian.
He for some reason he's stumbled onto this like weird, vague, whatever accent he thinks this is, like the Greek / Italian accent he's been using. Like he's like, yep, that's I got it, that nailed it. That's what the voice is. And he's been used he's used like variations on that for like last 2 movies he's been in.
He does okay British accent now and then, but no.
Yeah. No, no, he's definitely not a vocal chameleon like say like a Hugh Laurie or someone or Idris Elba. But Russell Crowe is playing an actual like real life exorcist, Gabriel Amorth, who was the chief exorcist for the Vatican from I think it was from like the 80s to 2016 or something. And this Pope's Exorcist is like ostensibly based on his. I think they said it's based on his case files, quote unquote. But this movie is so crazy as far as like the events that it's like this is like actually based on something that actually happened. That it's insane. So I think it's like very very loosely based on his like real life cases that were much more like therapy sessions than not like battling demons like they did in this movie. But basically, Russell Crowe is Gabriel Morth. He gets sent to Spain because there's a family that moves from America to Spain. They inherit this old like church in Spain. Like it was in their like father's family, and the father died, and then they are going there to like fix it up and sell it. But then it turns out this church in Spain, or this abbey in Spain, was secretly sealing in demonic forces, and so the son of the family gets possessed by a demon, and so then Russell Crowe has to go there, and he teams up with like this young Spanish priest, and they have to fight the demon together. Lots of typical Exorcist stuff. There actually is some really cool, fun, like creepy Exorcist stuff with like contortions and the kid. It's this little kid like saying this like disgusting, vile things to Russell Crowe, and like dragging up like their past sins, their past transgressions, and like showing them like visions of things that they did that they're ashamed of. Like Russell Crowe was like, because like the demon is like looking into their mind and like seeing things and like is like showing them things of like, oh, this is your sin, Father Amorth. Like this is what you're ashamed of.
Oh, like stares in their soul.
It sees into their soul or something. I don't know, demon powers. But there's a thing where like Father Amorth fought in World War One, I think, or World War Two, and he kind of like his whole squad got killed, and instead of like fighting, he like pretended to be dead, and like so he survived, but he was like a coward, quote unquote. So he's ashamed of that. So and then there's also like another girl that he thought was just mentally ill, and she was mentally ill, but she committed suicide because he wanted to help her. And so he's also like very like distraught about that. So he keeps like, so the demon keeps bringing up like a vision of this girl, and then like talking as her and like taunting him. But then you get there's a whole crazy conspiracy of there's like secret rooms in the abbey, and the Vatican knew about what was going on here. It gets to this like conspiracy kind of like there's like this deeper conspiracy and like this like past events, and then it gets to like basically like a crazy like it basically comes like Constantine or something, where it's just like now there's like actual like there's like a portal to hell and like demons and stuff. So it gets crazy. It gets crazy by the end of it. Like,
why
and it's like
become Doom basically.
Yeah, it's like very very crazy toward the end, and like especially like what happens to like Russell Crowe like toward the end. And then they also set up like, which I think this movie did okay, but I don't think it's enough to do a sequel. But they basically set up a sequel of like, oh man, you stopped one portal, but there's like 200 more portals around the world to stop. You gotta go, Father Morth, you gotta go stop them. It's like they're setting up this like buddy cop, like these like give Russell Crowe this like young Spanish priest are gonna go like around like fighting the other demons.
What? Like, how do they fight them? Like, do they just throw water at them and then that's it, or it's like keep praying at it?
Yeah, I mean it's like classic like Exorcist like stuff. You have like special prayers you say. You throw holy water on them. You like I think it's mostly like you read certain passages in the Bible or like certain like special like Latin phrases, and that fights the demon. And you also have to you have to learn the demon's name, and that helps you like fight the demon, because if you know this name, you can like fight it better, because then you like power over it. But yeah, it's a solid Exorcist movie if you're into like Exorcist movies, if you want to see just like a fun kind of like creepy Exorcist movie. And if Russell Crowe was not in it, it would definitely be like way more generic and bad. But like Russell Crowe definitely like brings like another layer of like ridiculousness to it. He rides like he's constantly like his character's like constantly riding around like a Vespa. Like it's like his main way he gets around like to like different places. So it's like you see like Russell Crowe just like riding on this little Vespa like driving around Spain and driving around like Italy. And also like
wait, it's supposed to be like the 50s?
It's the 80s. It's like 87, I think. Which
he
actually
fought World War One.
Yeah. And now he's the chief exorcist for the Vatican.
Yeah, he would be like 80.
I think he was like 20 or something, or like early 20s in like World War II. So I guess he's like that'd be 40, so 60s, I guess. He's fighting the demon in this movie.
Well, it's supposed to be the 80s, right?
Yeah, but he was 20 in like World War II, so that's like the 40s. So
World War II. I think I said World War One.
No, yeah, I think I said World War One, but it's World War II.
Gotcha.
No, yeah, he'd be the ancient old man trying to fight demons.
I know. That's what I was like. Wait a minute.
There's actually, speaking of the 80s, there actually is some like which must have added to like the budget a little bit, but there's actually some like pretty big needle drops too of like like 80s songs in the soundtrack.
Stranger Things was hot, so they're like, Stranger Pope.
Yeah. But yeah, it's solid, fun Exorcist movie. Not going to revolutionize the Exorcist genre, but it's definitely fun. And Russell Crowe definitely takes it like another level of like just like his accent, his like kind of like attitude, his like the way he like plays his character is like makes it like beyond a standard kind of like Exorcist movie. And then I also saw Transformers: Rise of the Beast, which just hit Paramount Plus. I think they hit Paramount Plus either like last Friday or this week. I think it was last Friday. I think it hit Paramount Plus. So it's on there right now. You can watch it there. I missed it when it was in theaters. So finally got a chance to check it out now. Definitely one of the better Transformers movies. Definitely I think definitely picks up the baton from Bumblebee fairly well, and much better than any of the Michael Bay movies. And the first Michael Bay movie is fine. That's probably the best of the Michael Bay movies. This one's definitely better than all the sequels by far. Like the Transformers actually look like G1 Transformers that you would want it to look like. They're not like just like jagged shards of metal like the Bayformers. And it brings in the Beast Wars characters, which kids in the 90s like you and me, Chris, like we're huge Beast Wars fans.
Well, yeah, the first version of them. So they actually watched it up until they left the planet.
Yeah, not Beast Machines.
Yeah, Beast Machines. I didn't watch Beast Machine.
No, Beast Machines is terrible. But yeah, actual Beast Wars, great. And it also has it has Unicron in it, so which I think they tried to do in like last night or something. I can't. One of the Michael Bay movies had tried to bring Unicron in, and it was terrible. This is actually a good use of Unicron. Like Unicron looks exactly like he did in the animated movie. Like it's just a big, horrifying Death Star with like teeth and then basically when the movie kicks off, like they destroy the Maxwell's home world, which is different from Cybertron. They live on a different planet than the Autobots. So I think it's only for this. I think this movie is like sets that up. I think that like the canon of like Beast Wars was that they were like the future. They were like descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons.
Yeah, they were the future.
Yes. But yeah, here they're like a separate species of Transformers. They live on different planets. But they have like a key that will like let Unicron transport anywhere he wants in time and space. But then they escape to Earth and like hide it. So that basically the whole movie is like Scourge, who's like Unicron's like main henchman, and his like Terrorcons are trying to find the transwarp key. And then if they find it, they can have Unicron come and like eat Earth basically, and then go out and like eat the rest of the universe. And then so then you have the Maximals on Earth, and you also have the Autobots who are on Earth, which is like it's Optimus, it's Bumblebee, it's Mirage, who's voiced by Peter Dinklage or Pete Davidson. Peter Dinklage is Scourge. So there's two famous Peters in this movie. And yeah, and then all the Maximals, like Ron Perlman is Optimus Primal.
Whoa.
And Michelle Yeoh is Air Razor. So a lot of like recognizable voices for the Autobots and Decepticons and Maximals this time. And then Anthony Ramos from what was that? What's it? In the Heights, the musical from last year. Yes, the Lin-Manuel Miranda musical. He's the main star of that. He's the star of this one. And Dominique Fishback, who was in that movie in Power with Project Power with Jamie Foxx. She's also the co-star. They're definitely like way better than like any other human characters that have showed up in like other Michael Bay. Like they're way better than Mark Wahlberg or like Shia LaBeouf. Like they're like actually like likable, and they should have like interesting like they're like actually like, you know, plot wise like integral to the plots and make sense for the plots. And like and they find out like an actual like reason for them to like be like involved in like this like Transformers war. So that's definitely a huge improvement too. It's like actual like interesting human characters. Although Bumblebee, I mean Haley Steinfeld and John Cena were fun in Bumblebee. So.
And this is a tie-in to Bumblebee, right? Like it's one continuous.
This is yes. I think Bumblebee is basically like a soft reboot, and then this is the sequel to Bumblebee. Although I think you can jump into this one without having seen Bumblebee because they only make like one. There's like one line referencing Bumblebee, and that's it. So there's not really any sort of like characters that come back from Bumblebee except for Bumblebee himself. But like basically, literally at one point, Optimus's arc in this movie is like he doesn't want to work with humans, so he doesn't trust humans.
Wait, what?
And then
I thought he did by the time Bumblebee happened.
No, I think they're like, yeah, because like obviously like in Bumblebee, like there would be like Bumblebees would be hunted by like John Cena, like his government agency or whatever. Like Haley Steinfeld was like the only like human that was helping them at all. So Optimus is still wary about humans helping them, and especially about something that can like get them home, because like the transformer key can like get them home. So it's like super important to him to get it, and he's like, I'm not gonna trust humans to like for something that's important. But then so it's like one line where like he's like, I'm not. Yeah, we can't trust humans. And then Bumblebee's like, but they're my friends. And he's like, I know one human was like you once, Bumblebee, but this is different. Like that's the only like reference to Bumblebee at all in the entire movie. Like one line, not even mentioning like Haley Steinfeld by name, just like, yeah, that one human in the 80s was nice, Bumblebee. That's fine. It's the 90s now.
So this takes place in the 90s.
Yeah. Like 1994 is when it takes place. So there's a lot of musical needle drops and fashion and pop culture references they go along with the 90s. But yeah, it's fun. It's definitely one of the best Transformers movie. If you're disappointed with like the like terrible Michael Bay sequels, like this one's definitely a huge step up from those. It's fun to see the Beast Wars characters in, you know, like quote unquote live action. I was it's a little disappointed there weren't any Predacons, like because it's just the Terracons. Like it would have been fun to see like like T-Rex Megatron or something, or like any of the other Predacons, but they're not in here. There's also a crazy kind of it's not post credits, but right before the credits there's like a setup for a sequel that's also set up for like a shared universe, like a shared like Hasbro-verse.
Is it a big spoiler?
I mean, it definitely was not like, it was definitely a surprise if you going into the movie, like no one knew this was like they were like set this up in the movie.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after then.
Yeah, but I mean, Rise of the Beast, I think it did okay. I don't know if it did well enough to like warrant a sequel or like kick off a shared universe. So this could be like a dark universe style. Like we're setting up this like big Hasbro universe, and it's like, and then they don't do anything with it. Because it's a pretty big, it's a pretty big setup for the future if they're actually going to follow through on it. But if they don't follow up on it, it's gonna be like one of the biggest like like post credit or like sequel setups that like never happened. Like it's like Super Mario Bros. Movie level. Like you guys gotta come back to the Mushroom Kingdom, or like, oh yeah, the Dark Universe, the entire thing. Like, but yeah, Res of the Beast on Paramount Plus. You Paramount Plus, definitely check it out. It's pretty fun. Definitely much more of like what Transformers fans have wanted from like Transformers movies. Like have them actually look like, they're like actual G1 or like Beast Wars characters, not horrifying messes of metal, and actually be able to see the action and actually have like interesting characters and actually be actually funny and not horrifying Michael Bay funny. So yeah, definitely check it out. And that's gonna do it for me this week, so we can wrap things up. Definitely head over to the site. We've got our Rocketeer commentary up right now. If you want to watch the Rocketeer along with us, you can head over to Disney Plus, sync up our commentary with that, and watch it along with us. And I believe if you're hearing this, there should be a Gamebox 2.0 up as well, so you can see what games you played this month on the sites. And we've got our usual reviews and news and trailers and all sorts of other stuff up there. So head over to the site, check all that stuff out. And so for Chris, I am Zach, and we will see you next week.
For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.